Hello everyone. So Dapol have just announced a bumper amount of new models in O gauge, double O and N gauge that are coming soon. We have some images of the models and prices are being revealed too, so we've got a lot to get through. So let's get started. O gauge first, and we'll begin with this, the J94 Austerity 060 steam tank engine. These were designed in 1942 by Robert A. Riddles in response to the urgent shunting needs of the UK during World War II. This robust and straightforward steam locomotive was intended to be easy to manufacture and maintain under wartime conditions. The first J94 was built in 1943 and eventually 377 of these locomotives were produced. After the war, the military retained 90 of these locomotives for use on their railway system. The London and North Eastern Railway purchased 75 of the Austerity locomotives, classifying them as J94. Some of these locomotives were modified with larger coal bunkers and additional steps to better suit their peacetime roles. Many other J94s were sold for industrial use, where they became a common sight in collieries, steelworks and other heavy industries. Between 1948 and 1964, an additional 77 new Austerity locomotives were built for the National Coal Board. These locomotives proved to be durable and efficient, remaining in service well into the 1970s. Remarkably, a total of 70 J94 Austerity locomotives have survived into preservation, where they continue to be a popular and cherished part of the UK's steam railway heritage. So Dapol has produced a really handy locomotive here, which has some great looks as well as a bunch of features, including a 5-pole skew-wound motor with flywheel, a die-cast chassis, footplate, coupling rods and saddle tank, sprung centre driving wheels, sprung buffers and 3-link couplings, full cab details with the cab roof being removable and secured by 2 magnets, and it's even got opening cab doors, metal handrails and a smoke box glow. There's going to be no less than 10 livery variations. That includes the LNER Black number 8006, the British Railways Black number 68023, the British Rail's Early Black number 68030, the British Rail Late Black, this time number 68012, the War Department Black with the number 75061, the Weems WPR Line Brown and it's number 15, the National Coal Board Line Green named Whiston, the United Steel Lined Red number 22, Merchant Navies Limited Red number 71515, and finally the LMR Blue and its number 916 with the name Errol Lonsdale. Certainly a lot to choose from, and also you have all these liveries available in the 3 different versions. All are priced the same, and for 12-volt analog DC with a 21-pin DCC socket, you're looking at around about £270. DCC fitted, it's around £307, and with sound as well, you're looking around £410. Considering this is an O gauge locomotive, I think these prices are not bad at all. So some rolling stock for your locomotive. Dapol has given us this, the 14-ton slope-sided mineral wagon in 8 liveries. These wagons were designed and painted by Charles Roberts in 1935 and were a significant development in British Railway freight transport. Primarily used for carrying coal and other minerals, they featured a distinctive slope-sided design which improved the unloading process. Before World War II, many of these wagons were painted in the colourful liveries of private owners, but during World War II, the Ministry of War Transport recognised the utility of these wagons and ordered 9,000 units in 1943 to support the war effort. However, due to the constraints of wartime production, only about 7,000 were completed before the railways were nationalised in 1948. So after nationalisation, these wagons were standardised under British Railways as Diagram 1/100 and were further upgraded to a 16-ton capacity. Recognising their continued value, British Railways ordered 4 additional batches of these wagons in 1946. Despite the rapid evolution of railway technology, many of these robust and reliable wagons remained in service into the 1960s. So this handy wagon features a die-cast compensated chassis, finely profiled wheels and axles with brass bearing pockets, sprung metal buffers and coupling hook with 3-link couplings, and many separately added fine details, and expect to pay around about £60 for these. Next we have the humble 12-ton ventilated van, this time with Palethorpe's Sausages livery. I think this is just a freelance livery, but the van does feature a nice moulding and 3-link couplings. Expect to pay around about £55 for this, or just £2 more if you fancy this factory weathered. Next we have the 24-ton steel hopper in 7 liveries. These hoppers were produced by Charles Roberts & Co. 1,000 hoppers were built in 1949 and were constructed to diagram 161, each with a capacity of 22 tons. These wagons were primarily designed for the transportation of heavy bulk materials such as iron ore. A year later, in 1950, an additional 1,500 wagons were built to diagram 1/162, which were an uprated version with a capacity increased to 24 tons. These later wagons were constructed by both Charles Roberts and Cambrian Railways, while Birmingham Railway Carriage and Wagon Company upgraded 500 of the original 22-ton diagram 1/161 wagons to match the new 24-ton specification. Initially, these hopper wagons were heavily used in the iron ore traffic, reflecting the industrial demands of the period. However, as the needs of the railway network evolved, these wagons were later employed for transporting other bulk materials, including limestone, chalk and sand. Their robust construction and large capacity made them well suited for such duties, and they played an important role in the heavy freight operations of the mid-20th century. These models feature a die-cast chassis, finely profiled wheels and axles with brass bearing pockets, many separately added fine details, sprung metal buffers and sprung metal coupling hooks with 3-link couplings. Expect to pay around about £70 each for these. Finally, for O-gauge and bang up to date, we have these amazing HIA hopper wagons in 6 livery options, all with cool graffiti already applied from the factory. These hoppers were introduced in 2005, specifically designed for the transportation of bulk materials such as limestone, stone and sand. Commissioned for exclusive use by Freightliner Heavy Haul Limited, there were a total of 122 hoppers manufactured by Wagony Świdnica in Poland. I think I pronounced that right. Of the 122 wagons, 95 were painted green, while the rest were white. These models all feature distinctive graffiti designs different on each side of the models, as well as a heavy die-cast chassis, a super detailed underframe. Finely detailed bogies include metal suspension, spring details and pinpoint axles, sprung buffers and many separately added details. These come in at £85 each. Now we come on to double O gauge, and it's an old favourite, the Great Western Railway Large Prairie 262 tank engine. Dapol have announced this model in 4 livery types with 2 variations of each, and also in DC, DCC or DCC sound options. Each of them feature a 5-pole motor with flywheel, a Next 18 DCC interface, and things like smokebox glow, compensated chassis, sprung buffers, and some innovative features such as a clever front pony truck and easy DCC sound PCB installation through the smokebox door. These are coming in at around £150 for analog DC, around £185 for DCC, and around £290 for DCC with sound. Another Great Western steam loco now, and it's the Manor 78XX 460 loco, and again you have a lot of options here. This is a very versatile locomotive designed with a lighter axle load than the more popular Grange class. This meant the Manor was able to operate in more regions of the Great Western Railway. Manufactured at Swindon in 2 batches, 20 between 1938 and 1939, and then a further 10 after nationalisation in 1950. And designated 5MT. There are 9 in preservation which you can still see, but if you fancy one of these in 00 scale, then the model features a die-cast compensated chassis, a firebox glow effect, detailed cab interior, and a slow-speed mechanism with a high-torque motor. So, 6 different versions, starting with number 7818 named Granville Manor in the Great Western Green. There's also number 7806, Cockington Manor. No sniggering at the back, please, in Great Western Railway Green. Also number 7821, Ditcheat Manor in BR lined black. Number 7822, Foxcote Manor in BR early black. Number 7817, Garsington Manor in BR lined green. And finally number 7802, Bradley Manor in BR lined green. Prices are all the same, coming in for the analog DC at around £175, DCC fitted for £210, or DCC with sound at 330. Finally, we move on to N-Gauge, and there's an interesting release coming up. But first it's this, the Flying Scotsman in preserved condition in late BR green livery. This I believe is a re-release and features a tungsten chassis, etched nameplates, all-wheel pickup and a tender drive, so-called Super Creep cordless motor for enhancing slow running. An iconic locomotive and sure to be popular, this is available soon for around about £180 for DC or £215 for DCC. You can also opt for the lesser modelled wartime black version for the same price, and apologies for the quality of the image here. Or if Scotsman isn't your choice of LNER loco, then you could opt for number 2751 Humorist in apple green colour, again for the same price. What's interesting here though is that Dapol are offering this, the LNER Flying Scotsman train pack, the loco in the classic apple green colour and matched with 4 of Dapol's Gresley coaches in the classic teak finish. A cool train pack and coming in around £265 for DC or £300 for DCC. Next we're being shown 2 new liveries for the Dapol Class 67 loco. Just body shell images so far. The Class 67 locos were built between 1999 and 2000 by Alstom in collaboration with General Motors. Initially designed to replace Class 47s for high-speed mail and passenger services, they were later certified for 125 mph operation. After the Royal Mail contract ended in 2003, the locomotives were used by various operators and for the Royal Train and still remain in use across the UK today. The first one here is number 67025 in Transport for Wales livery, and both will be available in either analogue or digital. So the DC version will be around £145, with the DCC version coming in around £175. That's the same price for the DB Schenker red colour, and that's number 67028. Next it's this, the Mark III DVT in Intercity Swallow livery and numbered 82137. This is an unpowered model but does feature directional lighting and comes in around £65. Finally, in this mammoth update from Dapol, we have this coach pack. This is the same DVT car as before, but this time in the silver livery with the large DB logo. It's matched with 3 Mark III coaches in the maroon DB livery. All feature high levels of detail and finish, and the pack comes in around £160. And that was it. Wow, what a massive announcement from Dapol, and good to see a varied selection of eras and scales. Did anything take your fancy? What did you think of the prices? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, just to wrap up, I'll say I'm not associated with or make any money from Dapol to do this video. I hope you liked it though. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and I'll see you on the next one. See ya!